video we're going to take a look at a feature of Excel called Autofill. Autofill makes it easy for you to enter certain sequences, and we'll take a look at the first one right here. I'm going to type in Monday and hit enter. And I'm going to go back up to the Monday cell. I'm going to go to the lower right hand corner here and get my fill handle and drag that all the way down. And Excel knows that if I type in the name of a day and use the fill handle to click and drag, it will fill in with consecutive days. So that's kind of slick. If you ever need a list of days, you only have to type in the first one. It also recognizes three-letter abbreviations. So if I type in TUE for Tuesday and click and drag, then it will fill in three-letter abbreviations for everything else. And those are the only two that it recognizes. If I try doing something like TU and expect that to work, and I go and I get my fill handle, I copy it all the way down, all I get is TU. So it recognizes three-letter abbreviations, not two letters, not four letters, exactly three letters, and it recognizes the entire name. Okay, let's delete that, and let's try something else here. If it works for days, you can probably guess it also works for months. If you type in the name of a month and go back and get your fill handle and drag all the way down, it will give you the names of consecutive months. And the same thing applies if you do three-letter abbreviations for this, just like we did with days of the week. And we'll get three-letter abbreviations for the month. And again, that's the only abbreviation that works. It has to be three letters. There are some other things that Excel will do for you. If you have a sequence of numbers, which comes up quite often, let's say I want the counting numbers starting with 1. If I type in the first two numbers and select them both, that's the key, you got to select both of them, and click and drag all the way down, it will give you consecutive numbers. Now if you forget and just type in the number 1 and get your fill handle and drag it down, all you get is a bunch of 1s. And let's undo that, and let's type in a 1 and a 2, and likewise, if all you select is the 2, even though you typed in both the 1 and the 2, all you get is a bunch of 2s. Okay, we don't want that, so let's undo it. You have to select the first two numbers, and the reason for that is Excel figures out how much was added on to this cell to get the value in this cell, and it continues to add that on for every cell all the way down. So there's a difference of 1, so it adds on 1 all the way down. You don't have to start with 1. You can start any place you want to. Let's start with 125 and 126. And select both of them, get the fill handle and drag it down. We get all the whole numbers beginning with 125 through 144. It also doesn't even care that they are whole numbers. If I do something like this, 5.5, 5.75, there's a difference of 1/4, 0.25 between those. So if I select both of them, remember, not just one, and get the fill handle, drag all the way down, it'll add 0.25 on all the way down. Now this looks kind of funny because some of the numbers have 0 decimal places, some of them have 2, some of them only have 1. So let's go up here and click on our comma formatting style, and that'll give us 2 decimal places for everything, and that looks a whole lot easier to read now. So all you gotta do is give it the first 2. And you can also do something like this. Let's say I've got a bunch of test scores I want to name or a number out here, and I type in test 1 and I click and drag, and if you have text followed by a number, it will automatically increment the number. You don't have to start with 1. You can type in year 2000 and click on it and get your fill handle and drag all the way down, and it will give you the years 2000 through 2019. So you can have basically any text you want to in front of any whole number that you want to, and you don't have to do 2 of them, you just have to do the first one, and it will increment for you all the way down and keep the text the same. There's one exception to that, and that is if I do Q1 and get my fill handle and click and drag that all the way down, you see once it gets up to 4 it starts over again, and so it's interpreting that to mean quarters. And since business reporting is usually done by quarter, this is something that people need to enter quite often in a spreadsheet, and so they've made a shortcut for it. There are 2 other variations of that. If you do QTR1, and again you don't start with 1 on here just like the other one, you can start any place you want to. It'll do a 3-letter abbreviation, and if you type in the word quarter, I'll put a different number other than 1 there this time, and we'll click and drag that down, and will give us consecutive quarters. So anytime you need sequences of numbers, you can use autofill. You don't have to put in a formula. You don't have to type them all in. Give Excel the first two, or in some cases just the first one, and it will figure out what it needs to do for the rest of them. And those are basically all of the options for doing autofill in Excel 2016.